start with Mr. Mateague. I've got figures in front of me where we thought X number of dollars would come in to the states under this, and it's come in short in many instances. So in general, not with specific states, has additional revenue collected matched GAO's expectations?
I would say yes, Senator. We reported that about $23 billion were collected from remote sellers that had economic nexus in 2021. That's more than what we suggested when we looked at 2017. The pandemic has been mentioned, inflation has been mentioned, the growth in e-commerce has been mentioned. So there are a lot of factors that have gone into an increase or an apparent increase in the amount of collections that states have been able to reap.
Ms. Yetter, if you've got any information on this, how are states auditing remote sellers, and how onerous are those audits compared to those done for home state businesses?
We are seeing states starting to do audits of remote sellers, so that has started. Typically, and this may be in part due to the pandemic and the ability to not visit in person, but what we are seeing is most of these audits are happening remotely with requests for data information, and then the states are often doing most of the work themselves to come up with that liability. As a consultant, we typically help to facilitate that for our clients and try to do as much of the work to minimize misunderstandings by the states.
To Hennessy, Huey, and Yetter, since Wayfair decision, every state with sales tax and District of Columbia has adopted requirements governing the collection of sales taxes. In your experience, have states provided sufficient outreach and education to remote sellers to help them understand their legal obligations? Go in whatever order you want to.
I can speak to several years ago when the Wayfair case first passed, when we were looking into this. I couldn't find any information regarding thresholds for many of the states to even know what the threshold levels were. And like I said, I was looking into it to be compliant as soon as that law passed or that case was passed. And it was really difficult to find any information at that time regarding what the threshold levels were.
I don't recall any instances personally where a state had reached out to us. We really did the research on our own with hiring outside experts and incurring the cost of that. Notices from the states do come in that relate to other issues like taxes that we owe that we may or may not have been aware of.
It certainly has varied depending upon the state. I think the streamlined sales tax member states probably have done the best job. Even as a professional and a expert in this field, some of the states it was not clear, and so we have dug into that. I certainly feel for the small businesses that have struggled with understanding the definitions. Our organization has attempted to simplify that by providing a variety of resources, but it has varied greatly across all the states.
Ms. Shetter and Mr. Mateague, whether or not the law is discriminatory in its design is often a different question from whether the law is discriminatory in its enforcement. So do you too, based on your work in this area, have states generally enforced their online sales tax rules in a neutral and non-discriminatory manner?
In my experience, they have been, particularly as it relates to the economic nexus enforcement, that it has been consistent across sellers that are in the same situation. So certainly sellers that may have physical presence rather than just economic presence have been treated differently, but sellers that are strictly economic have been treated for the most part fairly and not without discrimination.
Senator Grassley, I would just add that we have not seen any instances of discrimination along the lines that you described. I think states are also grappling with how to enforce this new power that they've been given as traditional sales tax continue to decline.